兄も卑怯とは言わねえがよ。そんなに怖いか。信じないよ。
What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here to talk about Redhead Shanks and his brand new super evolution. So we're getting very close now to the New Year's celebration, and I know everyone is excited for it, and there is still a Christmas event that's going to be coming up very shortly, but to our recollection, or to our knowledge, this is pretty much all that we really should be expecting before the big New Year celebration, and this is the celebration that we've all been waiting for. We don't really know what to expect just yet, but to our accounts, this looks to be the final super evolution of the year. Last year, they did actually have a super evolution come out around the same time as the New Year celebration with the Uta, and I believe Goldie Roger got his 6+. It was either, last year or the year before that. Either way, this is probably the final super evolution of the year. If not, it's cool. I hope we get something for New Year's. That would be fun. But we're going to talk about Shanks today and what they've done with his super evolution, because they have given him some pretty interesting buffs, and I don't really think it makes him the best super evolution of the year by any stretch, but I think that they've given him some neat buffs that will make him see a little bit more play now, which is really, really dope. So, of course, the Shanks that we talk about in this video with my Shanks, it is level 150, full level limit break expansion. This is as maxed as you can get Shanks in the game, okay? So, without further ado, let's start talking about his abilities. So Shanks' captain ability is getting a little bit of a buff here, where now he gives -2 cooldown at the start of a quest, so making him kind of like a pseudo speed farm captain, which is really nice. Means that if you use him for random pieces of content, it's just less stall that you have to do, which is a good thing overall. And if you do opt to use double Shanks, then you're getting -4 cooldown, which is exceptional. He furthermore says that he gives all characters 4.75 attack, 1.3 HP, and 15% damage reduction. So of course this is not like the same level as debut legends, because debut legends obviously have the higher multipliers, but still for a 6+, 4.75 times, I'd say that's about bare minimum that you'd want to go with these days. But then he also provides, really good health boost and damage reduction, so he's a very tanky captain, whilst also being a speed farm captain. So that's pretty neat that he has that, as well as making int and psi slots beneficial. He didn't have this effect before, so I don't really know why they opted to put this in his kit, but sure, it's just free matching slots, I guess. And I guess depending on the team composition that you go with, this could be very, very useful. But then you get into the nitty-gritty of his captain ability, where it says that if you have 4 more characters of the same type on the crew, then you get a 5.25 times boost to that dominant color. This means that in this team example that you're seeing here, this team example is using a full int team, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But hypothetically, if Shanks is your captain, and you have the rest of your crew as one other color, where it be the strength, dex, quick, or psi, or even int, it doesn't even matter. The dominant color on that crew, so in the team example where you have 1 Shanks and then 5 characters that are strength, the strength color receives the big 5.25 buff. And it's pretty interesting, because it means that Shanks can just be on your crew, and you can build a whole team around Shanks because of what Shanks does with his special, which is really, really neat, depending on the team that you are opting to build. Then he furthermore says that if you have a special that gives you an attack boost, a base attack boost, or a chain addition buff, you extend the duration of that buff by 1 turn. He didn't have this effect before, and I think it's a really neat addition, because you can use it in really interesting circumstances. Like if you need to carry a buff into that next room, you can use a 2-turn buff. Shanks as a captain will extend it by 1 turn, making it 3 turns. But if you are running like double Shanks, for example, you can have like a 1-turn attack buff, and then it becomes a 3-turn attack buff immediately. So that's a really interesting way that you could potentially use this. I don't really think that double Shanks is going to be ultra optimal moving forward, but it is something interesting that you can keep at the back of your mind. It's a really, really cool effect that they have, and I like that it's not only affecting 1 buff, like a lot of other effects will normally do. This is affecting 3 different buffs, albeit, like, Chain Addition, I guess, is somewhat common, but not too many teams are opting to use base attack boosts. But of course, with Shanks' special ability, which we'll talk about in just a moment, it synergizes as well, allowing Shanks' special to basically last for multiple different turns, which is really, really dope. As for the special ability of the brand new V2 6+ Shanks, he will now go ahead and remove 6 turns of paralysis, because why not? He never had this effect before. They decided to add 6 turns of paralysis removal. I think it's a pretty neat addition. He furthermore will give a 1.4 chain addition for 2 turns. This is massive. Previous to this, with his normal 6-star form, it would be a 0.9 chain addition, and I believe it was only for 1 turn. So not only did they extend it to 2 turns, but they also made it 1.4. So a 0.5 increase to that chain is a pretty big deal, actually. And remember, being a 2-turn buff, you can extend that by 1 turn with his captain ability. It then says if you have 4 more characters of the same type, you get a 2.5 attack boost and a 1000 base attack boost for that dominant color for 2 turns. But the really neat addition here is that they've stated that the attack boost and the base attack boost that Shanks applies to the crew cannot be removed by your own crew or enemy effects. This is really dope. I think this is going to see a lot of play moving forward. The fact that you can have this special or this effect to get base attack boost and a normal attack boost, and it's a 2.5 attack boost, by the way, which is not too bad. Like, that can get you through a lot of content, right? And the fact that it cannot be removed by your own effects or the enemy effects is dope. I love the fact that they're opting to do this more often, meaning that if the enemy removes your beneficial effects, they cannot remove Shanks' buffs. Now, they can remove his chain boost, which is unfortunate. I think that they should have just added the chain boost as unremovable as well, considering Shanks' chain boost here at 1.4 is one of the best chain boosts in the game, so I think it's a little bit strange that they didn't opt to do that as well. But I think that's really cool. And I guess the other effect that you have to talk about is that he changes all slots, including block, into whatever is the dominant type on the crew. So back to that team example we talked about earlier, if you've got a full strength team, but then Shanks is on the crew, he'll change all slots into strength through block. So again, a really neat effect there, and the fact that the attack boost and the base attack boost, they affect the dominant color as well. Shanks is a really solid legend. I think that with this brand new 6+, yes, it's not like the most optimal, like best legend in the game for sure, but it's just a really neat SugoFest exclusive that you can use to beat very interesting pieces of content, just like you're seeing here. So we're going ahead and using Shanks in the brand new Kizuna clash up against Shanks himself, but because Otama is the boosted legend, give you more tickets and is super effective against all types, and I was lucky enough to pull the Speed and Hamlet Kizuna Rev Recruit character, we opted to build a mono dex team against every single variation, and despite the fact we run a mono dex team that really isn't that optimal to use in a Kizuna when you're up against all these different colored bosses, the fact that Otama and Speed and Hamlet are super effective against all types means that it doesn't really matter. As long as Otama and Speed and Hamlet receive some type of buff, it's gonna be really good for getting through this content. So the fact that we have all of these different buffs activated, we have Shanks when we launch his special, he gives that massive attack boost and base attack boost to Dex characters, which Otama as well as Speed and Hamlet are all Dex. So Shanks gives those characters the buffs that they require. They are going to be our big damage dealers. Shanks obviously doesn't really do a lot of damage on this team, but it's really cool that you can build Shanks in a support sense, where you can just have Shanks as your main headliner unit. He's not the big heavy damage dealer for your crew, but he supports the rest of the crew in whatever color that they aim to be, and gives them the buffs that they require to get through that content. And the fact that Shanks is also a rainbow captain means you can use him in really interesting hybrid scenarios. Just like this one here where we're using Otama as our friend captain, enabling us to use her effects and all of her positive buffs to get through the piece of content, but also in some of the other clips that you guys saw at the start of the video. Like for example, against Sasaki, we were opting to use Robin Koala as our friend captain because they have the ability to remove special reverse innate in the captain ability, whilst also having her set of captain abilities and specials and switch effects and stuff like that. And remember, Shanks is also free spirit, so you can synergize him with some of the other great free spirit characters. You can run like a mono Psy Gear 5 team if you wanted to do that, you know, the one that has the revive mechanic, because that character, that Monkey D. Luffy, the 6-star Gear 5 Luffy, has an orb boost and color affinity with his special. Shanks can be your attack booster. Shanks will also give the full Psy team Psy slots when you launch his special, which Gear 5 wants to use, because with his EX Super, he does make the Psy slots have a higher multiplier. So there's just super cool synergies that you can do here. And remember that anytime you activate attack, base attack, or chain addition, he's going to extend the duration of that by 1 turn as a captain. So Shanks has got some really cool stuff going for him, that's for sure. Although I will say that in the higher spectrum of content, in the higher end content like Kizuna Clash or Super Kizuna Clash, where you're trying to get these really high damage numbers in the billions of damage, Shanks is not that type of character. Shanks is more going to be in the lines of arenas and like the lower form content where you can just build very interesting, unique teams with him. But if you're looking to build teams to do billions upon billions of damage, this is not the character that you should aim to build around. But as I said, the fact that you can build essentially any type team you want and then just inject Shanks into that team, you can even use him as a sub if you wanted to. You don't even have to use him as a captain, but if you need that dedicated attack booster for your monocolor team, Shanks can fulfill that role for you, whilst also giving base attack boost and very good chain boost as well, providing lots of offensive power for the rest of your crew. Even if he's not going to be that you know, huge damage dealer character for that crew, he can be that supporter unit that gives you really good damage and the matching slots that you need to get the job done. But that's going to wrap it up for me though. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about Shanks down below in the comment section. I guess there's also the pretty big issue, the fact that Shanks doesn't have a super type, and I do think that it's kind of a missed opportunity that Shanks doesn't have a super type, or even like if they went out of their way to make it an EX super, where it's like give int super int for himself and then whatever is the dominant color gets super type. I don't know how they could program that specifically, but if they were able to do something like that, it would make his usability as a captain go up quite a fair bit, because getting additional super type for your characters is a big deal, adding lots of additional damage to the crew. Unfortunately, they don't have that, so that's probably the only big issue that I have with this unit, but the rest of the kit I think is relatively fair, and I did also say that I am not the biggest fan of the fact that there's no utility in the captain effect, but I don't really think that's a major issue considering the way that this character is designed. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about him down below in the comment section. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
何も卑怯とは言わねえがよ。そんなに怖いか。新時代だ。まだやるか。